So, welcome to this first ever episode of Being Better with Bob Morton. And speaking of Bob Morton, he's actually here. How are we doing, Bob?
I'm marvellous, Terry, and as ever, all the better for speaking to you.
One day I'll believe that. One day I'll believe that.
That's
But yeah,
a really declining bullshit, isn't it?
we spend 20 minutes before the show slagging each other off, and then we press record, and it's all like, oh yeah, you're awesome, and I'm awesome.
Love fest. Oh, I love
Yes.
you. You're my best mate. I really am.
But this is your show now, Bob. And first of all, I want to give a little thank you from me and also from all the premium subscribers who are going to be listening to this and potentially even watching it. So thanks for coming on and doing an exclusive show for the Instructor Podcast Premium. What can people expect from this show going forward?
Well, I think it's a kind of, if you like, a bit of a reflection of my journey when I made the change from, if you like, instructor to coach. And then trying to get the LDC trainers to switch from instructing to coaching and the existing ADIs and finding ways that made it easy, because we all did the same sort of things. We read a book, we went to a course, and we came out of it thinking, yay, that's it, I'm off. And then you get back to the real world and find, it's easy just to drift back into what you were doing before because it's what you know. Especially if things aren't quite going right, that people start to make mistakes they don't normally make. How do you keep a grip of it? So it was juggling all of that, and it's helping people to develop. We're all different. We all start from a different place, and we all have different aspirations. But it's helping people, if you like, to set out their own journey, and to do it in such a way that they can stay on track and see tangible results. That's in my head anyway.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was as well. And I think part of the idea for this came from, I put out like a little survey for people to fill in. And I think it was just for the actual podcast, not for premium. And one of the questions was, what would you like to see from the show going forward? And someone made a really good point. And where they said, I forget the exact thing, but it was something like, it feels like sometimes I forget that at heart, at the basics of all, we're driving instructors. And I focus a little bit on all the additional stuff. And I thought, at first I did that thing where I'm like, oh God, he said a bad thing about me, But I stepped back and thought, do you know what? He's right. I do. And that's not a bad thing. It's like, I can bring the focus back a little bit to look specifically at us as driving instructors and how can we get better. So, that completely ties into what you said there. And the other day we were discussing the title for this episode, and you put forward the suggestion of, why the fuck should I put my faith in you, you fat Geordie wanker? So, Bob, why the fuck should people put faith in you, you fat Geordie wanker?
What I want to do what I want to do is to put forward some ideas, and the reason I'm hoping that people will put their faith in me is because they'll try them and find that they work, and I want to strip things down to make them easy to understand and easy to do. So there's a whole host of things that need to change to get you from being even a very good instructor to being a coach. And it's hard. It's hard. I struggled with it. What was it? The Hermes report was 2010, I think, which came up with the GDE, the goals for driver education. And there's a ton of stuff in there. And you think, well, okay. We were told at the start, instruction equals bad, coaching equals good. And it became very polarized. And of course, then social media gets its hands on it, and there's nothing better for polarization than social media. So it becomes almost, two sides, almost at war with each other. It's very, very difficult for people who genuinely want to get better. They're not really sure where to start. So it's all very good, being better. What the hell does that mean? It doesn't mean be like me, because that might not work for you. It works for me. So we've got to find out what works for the individual. So it's really about helping people set goals. And, quick advert. Yeah, I've got a good track record in this regard. I've trained a lot of people and had a lot of success. So you're in safe hands, I hope.